A long time ago in the East lived a young man who, after suffering a run of bad luck, had slipped into a state of despair. Then one night, while drowning his sorrows in a bar, he overheard a story about how the Buddha can work miracles for people and put their lives back together. Intrigued and prepared to give things one last shot, he went to see the Buddha. The Buddha confirmed the details of the story and said that, indeed, he could help him. However, he must first visit the homes of 3 other people who had also suffered misfortune in life and bring back something from them. Only then, said the Buddha, will I be able to help you. So the man goes to see a farmer who is out plowing a field. The farmer asks why he has come. The man explained his situation and said that the Buddha had told him to visit 3 people who, like him, had suffered misfortune and to bring back from each person an object of their choosing. Only then will the Buddha bring happiness back into his life. The farmer thought for a few moments and then bent down, gathered a sheaf of corn in his hand, and gave it to his troubled visitor. The young man looked rather perplexed, but was nonetheless grateful for the corn. As he was leaving, he remarked to the farmer that he did not appear to be suffering too much as a result of his misfortune. The farmer simply smiled and said that he too had been to see the Buddha. And then the man visited 2 other farmers and, following a similar conversation, was given gifts of an axe and saddle. His task complete, the man finally returned to the Buddha and presented him with the 3 gifts. The Buddha said to the young man that he had done well, but that he would have to delay performing his miracle as he needed to go on an important trip. The man looked disappointed, but the Buddha said that now he needed the man's help instead of the other way around. The Buddha explained that for his trip he needed some corn to make bread, an axe to chop wood, and a good saddle for his horse. I can make none of these things, explained to the Buddha. So he asked the man whether he would plow and harvest the field of corn, make the axe so that he may have wood for his fire, and saddle his horse to ensure that his trip was a comfortable one. If you make me these things, my trip will be a good one, and I will be able to relieve you of your misery when I return. The man, grateful for the opportunity to help the Buddha, agreed to do as asked and threw himself enthusiastically into his second task. It was some months before the Buddha returned to make good his side of the bargain. On meeting with the man, the Buddha thanked him for his fine corn, his sturdy axe, and comfortable saddle, for without those things his trip would have been a failure. The man expressed his gratitude to the Buddha for such kind words and went on to explain that he had so enjoyed sowing and harvesting the corn and making the axe and saddle that he had decided to become a farmer himself. The Buddha said that he was pleased for him and began making preparations for the miracle. Seeing what was to take place, the man stopped the Buddha and said that he no longer needed him to perform the miracle, as he had already done so. Buddhism teaches us to embrace all emotions at the same level, no matter how we perceive that emotion. The concept of causes and conditions reminds us that there will be difficulty and loss. And when there is difficulty and loss, it is appropriate to be sad. Depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. Fortunately, it is also treatable. Depression causes feelings of sadness and/or a loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems and can decrease your ability to function at work and at home. Some depression is caused by changes in the body's chemistry that influence mood and thought processes. Biological factors can also cause depression. In other cases, depression is a sign that certain mental and emotional aspects of a person's life are out of balance. For example, significant life transitions and life stresses, such as the death of a loved one, can bring about a depressive episode. The Buddha attached great importance to how to handle one's own feelings in preventing and managing depression. He advised that we train our mind in such a way that it is always on the right track, not the wrong one. In comparing a trained mind to an expert driver of a car, I can say that the trained mind will almost always decide to act rightly on various occasions, like the clever driver who usually decides and acts rightly in handling his car on the road. The Buddha had a lot of advice to prevent this kind of trouble from happening in our mind. He even had advice on how to handle it if it has already been in our mind. He advised that we try to live a life of a wise man who understands and accepts the state of alternating periods of good times and bad times in life, saying, "The full moon rises and then wanes, the sun illumines the earth and sets. I see through the worldly vicissitudes, therefore I do not grieve whilst others are grieving." Try not to buy into the fraudulent belief that your depression is unsolvable, fixed, and permanent. This stubborn approach is not skillful. A better pathway is to create a mind shift. When our mind are highly negative, the mind responds accordingly by creating sadness and stress. But when you create a mind shift by focusing on more positive thoughts, the mind creates relaxation, release, and happiness. For those of us whose minds have already been troubled with depression, the Buddha advised that we have to try to live in the present moment, hanker not after the past, nor fantasize over the future. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not been reached. Try it. Stop thinking about or being angry about the past or something that happened in the past, and stop untimely worry about the future. This will help us to stay calm and cheerful. Tibetan Buddhist monks have traditionally practiced yoga not only for physical health, but for emotional balance and spiritual evolution as well. Additionally, yoga is known to bring relief from depression. First, yoga is exercise, and exercise is scientifically verified to lift and shift moods. Second, yoga gives you language to understand feelings. Words such as notice, investigate, experiment, and curious are important cues, guiding the mind to become more aware of what's going on inside. I hope you like the story. Please subscribe to our channel for more motivation and inspiring videos. Thank you.